Welcome to Kitty Knits Reviews, The Knitter's Knowledge by Debbie Bliss. Hi, my name's Kate. I am a knitter, designer and editor in the UK. I edit a magazine called Knit Now, and this is my YouTube channel. Just a quick one today. I just wanted to run through a book which landed on my desk a few weeks ago. It's called The Knitter's Knowledge. It's by Debbie Bliss and it's really, really brilliant. So let's get straight to it. Have a look. So here it is, The Knitter's Knowledge. As you can see, it's quite a good size, and as you can probably tell from my holding it, it's a good weight. Now, some people say you should never judge a book by its cover. I say that's nonsense. Books can and should be pretty. This one really, really is. This, I'm not sure, you won't be able to see it, but if I do this, you should be able to hear that this knit stitch pattern here is embossed. Lovely. Beautifully bound, really just a gorgeous thing. So when you're looking at a reference book, this is going to be in your library for decades and you're going to be pulling it out and using it a lot. So not only is it a good heavy cover, also how much do you love this colour here? The paper is practically card, it's that thick. So the book itself is split as you would imagine into several sections. I'm just going to have a look at a few of my favourites because obviously it's a knitting reference book. Most of it you can guess what's in it, but I can talk to you a little bit about the quality of it and the bits that I think make it unusual and a really, really good buy. So as you can see, a lot of it uses this nice sort of watercolour texture, very natural feel to it, lovely sort of hand-drawn illustrations, beautiful clear photography, really easy to read, very clear layout. So the sections quickly are yarn, needles and other things, first steps, understanding knitting, shaping, knitting texture, knitting in the round, colour knitting, embellished knitting, finishing, designing knits and troubleshooting. So I'm just going to have a quick look at some of my favourite sections and that should give you a taste for the book as a whole. This one is one that if you're an experienced knitter, possibly you will learn a couple of things, but it's great if you're ever teaching beginner knitters so that you can show them this, because there's so much in here that just is always skipped out in books, and I love that Debbie's included it here. So you've got really clear illustrations of what your knitting looks like from different angles, how to read the patterns, how to read different types of terminology, you know, things like what does ending on a right side row mean? Now, as experienced knitters, we know this, but as a complete beginner, these are the sorts of things that people get easily hung up on. So you've got reading how to read charts, how to knit a swatch and check your swatch. Always like to see plenty of space given over to that. Lovely advice on substituting your yarns, how to join in a new ball. Again, these are things that I see beginners struggle with time and time again. How to use stitch markers, putting in lifelines, how to count your stitches and your rows. Again, as you can see, all of these illustrations are super clear, really, really easy to work from. How to pick up stitches, different ways to pick up stitches as well. Picking up stitches from different places and around a curved edge. All of that is so often skipped. So I'm going to head through to this section, which is colour knitting, and there's so much really intelligent, brilliant advice given over to understanding colour, choosing colour, And, you know, Debbie is great at this. Not only does she pick colours to knit with, but, you know, she chooses her own colours for her yarn ranges. So getting one-to-one advice from Debbie Bliss on colour, rather lovely. I love this. Tips on controlling multiple yarns and using bobbins, how to carry the yarns, all of this. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. I'm going to skip ahead as well to embroidery, which again is a section you don't often see in a knitting book these days. Actually, I generally have to refer back to books that were published 50, 60 years ago to get really good advice on embroidering knits. So the obvious one we all know is duplicate stitch or Swiss darning, but it goes beyond that. You've got decorative stitches, so many different decorative stitches, beading, different ways to add beads, so many tassels and fringes and French knitting and pom-poms, and you get the idea. There is so much in this book. Now, going on to, I think, which is what's my favourite section in this whole book, the section on finishing. Anyone who knows me knows I love mattress stitch, and I'm slightly evangelical about it. If you've never tried mattress stitch, look it up, do it tonight. Love yourself, just do it. But, okay, so we've got good sections on blocking and all of that. Mattress stitch, end to end, side to side, fine. Probably most of us know how to do that. Mattress stitch, end to side. Haven't seen that in a book before. Mattress stitch on rib, double rib. So many different variations on moss stitch, garter stitch. Then you've got your back stitch seam, your flat seam, your over sewing, slip stitching, and even sewing in your ends. This, like, I'd been knitting 5 years before I really thought I knew how to sew in an end. So much in this I wish I'd had when 5-10 years ago. You've also got, okay, here's your basic Kitchener grafting, but then in garter stitch and in rib. So you've got your basics here, but every single time she's going one step further. And yeah, really good professional finishing is absolutely what makes a project, and this is how you can make a piece look as professional as Debbie Bliss's. All of these techniques, so clever, so easy to follow as well. Lovely big clear illustrations, as you can see. So again, I'm just gonna skip to the last section, which I wanted to point out, which is on designing, which, as we know, is what Debbie is brilliant at. So again, you get a little bit of advice from the best in the biz. This, I know a lot of you watching are designers, and you know, we talk and we give each other advice, but this is a new perspective on it all, and I really learnt things from reading this. So great information on, you know, creating your own bespoke knits, which is great. And the practicalities, and again, you can see there's a lot more text in this section, because it's more theoretical than something that you can actually illustrate, but it's still all spaced out really nicely and very easy to absorb. So you've got everything from, you know, how to use your knitter's graph paper, which, by the way, in the back, you've got 2 ratios of knitter's graph paper, which you can photocopy and use, which is brilliant. I love this on calculating yarn quantities, which is something that I know a lot of people struggle with. And the last section is troubleshooting. So these are just all of those really valuable hints and tips for things like fixing a dropped stitch and shortening knitted fabric, all of that kind of stuff. So that is the knitter's knowledge. It's heavy. So that's The Knitter's Knowledge by Debbie Bliss. It's published by Quadrille and it's £25. If you want to get a copy free though, it's our current subscription gift on Knit Now. So if you subscribe to Knit Now, you will not only get a discount on the price of the magazine, you'll get it delivered to your door, you get it earlier than everyone else, all of those nice fluffy things, but you will get a copy of this absolutely free. So if you want to do that, I've put the link down below. So if you like this video, click like. If you want to see more from me, click subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Oh my god. I apologise most sincerely for the loudness of my next door neighbours.